Okay, go ahead.
Okay, well, let me get started then um, with usually I try to do this in a somewhat lighthearted fashion, but uh, today I'm maybe going to break from tradition and because it is a very unusual year. Um, really, the word commencement, of course, signifies the beginning of your lives as graduates of the university, but it's also a time to reflect on your years here, working toward the degrees that are being conferred in this ceremony. But we can't do that without also reflecting on the enormous challenges and hardships that you faced during the pandemic. Yours will always be the COVID class, the class for whom so much was lost or degraded in what is supposed to be a very special time, your final year here with your classmates. Those of you who were on campus found it a very different place from what you were expecting when you started your undergraduate program. A place with limited opportunities to see the faculty and your fellow students face to face. A place with so many rules about what you can and cannot do. A place that at times must have seemed like a post-apocalyptic ghost town. Indeed, I guess that's what it was. It truly was. Those of you who studied remotely must have felt an even greater sense of disconnection from the UVA community that we cherish so much. But you persevered. Perseverance. That's appropriately also the name of the most remote worker ever, that spunky Martian rover that connects with its handlers from time to time while performing amazing feats. Perseverance is the best word to describe what you've done, because despite all the losses and disappointments, you found a way to succeed and find meaning in your graduation year. People are fond of saying that math is hard, and I wouldn't dispute that sentiment. It's hard for me as well, but it's also a community enterprise with a goal of understanding the ideas and concepts that help us to productively organize our thinking about the world. A community enterprise involved in exploring new ideas and concepts to extend our understanding of these structures and modes of thought. Together, we found new ways to keep that community going through the pandemic. We found new ways to work together and to support each other using online tools. We found new ways of gathering and sharing our ideas at places like the online math club, the online departmental teas, and online research experiences for undergraduates. When all is said and done, your degree in mathematics means you've faced complicated problems about which you had no idea at first. And then you thought and thought. An organizing principle formed in your mind, and then with concerted effort, you figured it out. This is a skill that will serve you well going forward, whatever you end up doing in life. Now, this is my final year as chair of the department, and I want to take the opportunity to thank my colleagues for the extraordinary effort they put forth in making the department a very special community during the pandemic year. Through their ideas and efforts and through your own participation and perseverance, despite the hardships, we made it through to this day, this very special day when we honor your accomplishments at UVA. It's also a very hopeful time for our country as we look forward to reopenings and returning to normality. But what is normal? If there are lessons to take from the pandemic, they have to do with the extraordinary degree of interdependence in our society and the consequent need to consider the effects of our actions on others. And I'm proud of you and optimistic that you will take these lessons to heart and help build a kinder, more just, and yes, a more interdependent society. As we pass the torch to you, I hope and pray that generations that follow will be able to say, I like what you've done with the place. So with that, I'd like to move on to the main menu, which is the announcement of awards and the conferring of degrees. I guess that's Christian will take it over from here, right?
Thanks, John. That's right. Well, let me just welcome all of our math majors who are here and also all of their parents and families who've tuned in to the Zoom session. You know, everybody knows that it's not just the hard work and perseverance of our math majors as they learn all of this difficult mathematics and get their degree. It's also the support of their families and friends as they go through that. You know, as undergraduate director, you know, I see, I get to see a lot of final records of math majors that are finishing up. Lots of them go across my desk, and I'm always amazed at the growth and the amount of mathematics when I look at the slate of courses that students have taken and the grades they've got in them. I'm always very impressed, but I have to say I didn't really know what to expect this year. You know, sort of the pandemic just made everything so different. And this year, as I'm going through it, I have to say that you majors, it doesn't look like you faltered at all. I mean, you all just have really wonderful programs, and you've clearly absorbed so much mathematics. And I just want to say on behalf of all of us on the faculty, we're so proud of what you've accomplished here. It's really, you know, it warms my heart to see it. So you've all done so well. And that's what this ceremony is about. You know, normally we'd be in one of the courtyards on the lawn, and we'd be sweating, and there'd be some lemonade there, and the little hot dogs that John mentioned are always there. We have to do without that today. But yeah, I just want to reiterate that the most important spirit of all of this is just celebrating your accomplishments. And the way we do that is we confer degrees. And so we normally I read everybody's names, and everybody comes up, and there's applause, and we get to hand you your diploma. And this year we're going to have to do that electronically, which is not quite the same. But I hope that everybody who wants to clap makes use of the Zoom chat. And I know there's like 50 different icons we can use to symbolize approval. Feel free to use all of those. And I'm just really going to do two things. First, I'm going to quickly describe the annual. There are a couple of honors that some of our graduates earn each year, and I'm going to describe those quickly and announce those honorees. And then I will get to the main event, which is to formally confer degrees, which will simply be reading the names. And so we can all clap visually with our cameras and use the icons and so forth. So let me start with briefly discussing some honors. So you can see in your program, hopefully you all got an electronic copy of the program. You can see that some of our graduates are notated with a few symbols. The first one is Phi Beta Kappa. As many of you may know, this is the oldest and most prestigious honors organization in the US, which celebrates and advocates excellence in the liberal arts and the sciences. Students are elected to Phi Beta Kappa on the basis of consistently challenging course loads that reflect a commitment to both breadth and depth. And there's some pretty high bars. They have to be in the top 12% of their graduating class, and they have to be in the top 4% of their third year class if they're third year. Of course, everyone on this list is graduating, so it's mostly the former that applies here. And I will be. I just want to say now directly to all of you Phi Beta Kappa honorees, congratulations. I'm going to In part 2, when I list everybody's names, I'm going to specifically call out the Phi Beta Kappa honorees as well. So I'm not going to do that right now. I just wanted to explain to parents and families what the Phi Beta Kappa is all about and congratulate you. So that's Phi Beta Kappa. There are also 2 awards that we as a math department give every year. The first one is called the Edwin E. Floyd Prize, who's named after a former faculty member of our department. He was a well-known topologist who joined the department back in 1945, and he was highly respected as both a teacher and as a colleague, and he eventually became chair of the department, and he eventually then became dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, and then he eventually went on to become provost. I mean, he was a real leader. And after serving as provost, he decided to, when he had served his done his service there, he came back to the department and continued to teach because that was so important to him. And when he died in 1990, his family gave some money to the math department to endow this prize. And it's awarded each year to math majors who have shown unusual promise in mathematics. And this year, the 2021 recipients of the Edwin E. Floyd Prize are Zachary Carlini, Spencer Martin, Kasia Siegel, Michael Stepnitska, and Sean Stulzatz. Let's give them all a round of applause. Each year, we also award the E.J. McShane Prize. This is named after Edward McShane, who was the alumni professor of mathematics until he retired in 1974. He worked on variational problems, notably, but also a wide range of things. He had a wide-ranging career in mathematics. He was eventually a member of the National Academy. He eventually became president of the American Mathematical Society and also the Mathematics Association of America. And we also award this prize in his honor each year, and it's awarded to the graduating 4th year for outstanding achievement in mathematics. And this year, the 2021 E.J. McShane Prize goes to Zachary Bogger. Congratulations to everybody. Okay, so there's one more piece to mention before I get to the main event, and that is that in the math department, we have a fairly new program. I think this is only maybe the 3rd year that we've had it or so, which is a distinguished majors program. And this is a program, it's actually the College of Arts and Sciences that makes available the Distinguished Majors program, and if departments want to participate, they can sort of create their version of it. And it always involves some form of 4th year research project. In our department, in order to participate in the Distinguished Majors program, there's a specific slate of courses that are sort of more challenging requirements than the courses you would normally need just to earn the major. You have to sort of do more. And in addition, you have to take Math 4840, which is our Introduction to Research course that's normally taken in the 3rd year, sort of in anticipation of possibly doing a distinguished majors thesis. And then at the end of your 3rd year, you apply for entry into the distinguished majors program. You have to get letters of recommendation, and you have to set up an advisor and come up with a project with an advisor. And this is all sent to me. And I then bring it to the undergraduate committee, and then we decide, all right, these are the people that are going to get in. It's always it's a challenging thing because you have to do this in addition to all of the senior mathematics work that you're doing to complete your degree. And so in the course of this, you basically are working one-on-one with an advisor on a research project. Now, this is in some cases this involves original research, but it also often is a strongly expository thesis where you summarize and become an expert in a certain area of mathematics. And as per college rules, as many of you know, at UVA, the college awards 3 distinction levels above the distinction of a UVA degree, and the basic level of distinction is earned with a GPA cutoff. But in order to get the highest 2 levels of distinction, you have to do some kind of a DMP. So that's just to sort of show you the rarity at which UVA hands out these distinction levels. So this year we only had 1 person do the DMP. That we've had 3 or 4 people per term in the first couple seasons, but there was a bit of a lull this year, maybe because of the pandemic, who knows. But at any rate, I want to recognize Zach Bogger for turning in a wonderful DMP thesis. The title of his thesis was Algebraic Number Theory and the Kronecker-Weber Theorem. And he did this with under the tutelage of Andrei Rapinchuk, and based on that, his committee recommended him to the college for highest distinction. So we're all very proud of Zachary. Okay, so that brings me to the main event, to part 2 here, where I'm going to read everyone who has earned a bachelor's degree in mathematics from UVA this year. I sort of mentioned these levels of distinction that I'll mention as I go through. It's funny, at UVA, we sort of have different terminology for things compared to every other university in the country, right? We don't have a campus, we have grounds just at UVA, and we don't have graduating seniors, we have 4th years. Many of you maybe think that my colleagues and I have tenure. We actually don't. We have what's called appointment without term. I have no letter that says the word tenure on it. It just says appointment without term at UVA. And at UVA, we do not have the classical cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude. Here at UVA, we simply say with distinction, with high distinction, or with highest distinction. I guess Jefferson didn't like Latin. I don't know, why not? So that's what we have. So, and I've just described kind of what goes into the college's decision to award those various levels, and we've sort of notated it in the program. And I hope I don't screw up and forget to announce any of those as I go through the list. So, without further ado, let me pull up my copy of the list here, and I will start announcing names. So you'll just have to imagine each recipient walking past the podium and collecting their scroll from John. The real scrolls, by the way, will of course be mailed. And I should also say that for the awards that I mentioned earlier, there are little very nice plaques and a small amount of money that comes with them, and those will also be delivered to the recipients under separate cover, as they say. Okay, here we go. Congratulations to all of the following math majors: Matthew Pizzo Abbott, Catherine Elizabeth Andrews, Kisal Randika Batuwangala, with distinction; Zachary Michael Bogger, with highest distinction. Also this year's McShane Prize winner and a former Floyd Prize winner. Jonathan Scripps Berkeley. Evan James Brandt with distinction. Noah Brenny. Frank Robert Brutsky. Mingxuan Kai with distinction and also Phi Beta Kappa. Henry Louis Karskadin. Anne Marie Chapman. Shenghui Chen. Shi Chen. Yuan Tao Chen with distinction. Jiaming Cheng. Cameron Stewart Church with distinction. Gregory Charles Hanin. Julia Nicole Kant with distinction. James Everett Corbin. Andrew Farquhar, Phi Beta Kappa. Kyle Robert Fielman. Nicholas Edward Figgins. John Henry Fishbein. Holly Foster. William Douglas Folds, Phi Beta Kappa. Alexis Christine Freitas. Jack Sebastian Fultz. Zach Louis Gelfond with distinction. Sukaria Gosh. Jacob Michael Goudot. Jefferson Collier Grigsby with distinction. Mark Hodulik with distinction. Kyle Hoffman. Buell Hollister V. Siyi Hu. Noah Manthorn Huffman, Phi Beta Kappa. Dongwook Kim. Landon Kirk. Parker Nicole Laziar. Hannah Justin Lee. Jin Hanbyul Lee, Phi Beta Kappa. Hannah Lewis. Hao Yu Lee with distinction and Phi Beta Kappa. Hao Xuan Lee with distinction. Blake Jameson Lilly. Yido Liu. Zifeng Liu. Connor Phillips Loden. Ziwei Ma. Aparna Marathe. Aidan Wheeler McManus with distinction and Phi Beta Kappa. Clara Sionwu Na. Thomas Patrick O'Farrell. Sandra Paredes. Jihoon Park. Bangyan Hai Pham with distinction. Tiernan Akli Prasad. Jack Biagio Prescott. Kristen Putman with distinction. Matilda Grace Rossi Marshall. Jay Rothenberger. Joseph Edward Rudek. Daniel Michael Seri. Mia Elizabeth Shaker. Lingnan Shen, Phi Beta Kappa. Kasia Lynn Siegel with distinction and Phi Beta Kappa and with the Floyd Prize. Amar Rohan Singh. Akrit Anand Sinha, Harrison Wayne Snell, Joseph Patrick Snitzer with distinction, Jackie Dean Sublet III, Phi Beta Kappa with distinction, Vladislav Tumbaum with distinction, Adrian Thura Thinyun with distinction, Yao Tong with distinction, Ryan Michael Torbick, Tin Chi Tu, Darwin Andrew Walter with distinction and Phi Beta Kappa, Jiayi Wang, Muyuan Wang, Phi Beta Kappa, Daniel Trey Woodrum, John Stewart Wren, Gracie Maria Wright, Zhengkun Xiao, Haoran Yan, Tingyu Yang, Fernanda Yepes Lopez, Eric Zhang, Yutong Zhang with distinction, Kaiwen Zhu with distinction, Qinyue Zhu. Let's give all of these graduates a big round of applause.
Thank you, Christian. Bravo and bravo to all of our graduates. I think the plan for now is we're going to have the graduate ceremony at 2:15. That leaves us 15 minutes, and we are welcome to unmute and chat with us and with each other, send notes, whatever. Just imagine that now we're eating our little hot dogs and chatting with each other after a successful awarding of degrees. So again, thanks again, and congratulations to all of you graduates.